What's going on, guys? It's me, Jason, again, and welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast.
Trash or cash, trash or cash. Is the idea trash or is cash? Let us know. Yes, maybe so, or for sure, it's a no. Should we stop while we ahead and turn around, or it's a go? Trash or is cash? Go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey, yo, check dig. You're now tuned in to Trash or Cash podcast, the show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
What's going on, guys? It's me, Jason, again, and welcome to the Trash or Cash podcast, a show for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. The idea is simple here. A couple of entrepreneurs, me and this guy right here, get together and we pitch each other ideas we think might have the potential to become a very successful business. But as you know, ideas are one thing and the reality is another. So we're going to share our wild ideas, me and you. Yeah. And we're going to try to figure out if an idea is cash or good, or if it really should just be trash. We don't know, right? But you know, who knows? One of these days, one of these ideas might be the next unicorn. We don't know, but that'd be pretty sweet, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what this is about. If you've never been here before, there's your summary of what we're about to do today. So this right here is my Eugene. Is it Can? Is like that's official? Or is that like your stage name?
Oh no. That's the real name. A lot of people ask me, is that your real last name? Yeah. So Fan.
Oh, Fan.
Yeah, Fan.
Can. What's that? Oh, that's dancing. That would be good too. So does Fan have an OnlyFans? Because that would be kind of inception.
No. I know what that'll be dope.
All right. So this is what I know about you. I saw one of your podcasts I'm from Philly. So when I saw Gilly and Wallow and you was on their podcast, I was like, oh, this guy, he up there. And then, you know, a little bit background. I at one point had 25 doors on Airbnb in Philly,
wow.
Right? So the whole purpose of my business, Trash Mitter, this guy right here, was I got frustrated with the trash problem in Philly specifically, but it got bigger than that because, you know, in the hospitality business, you know, the first thing you're gonna hear from a guest is something looks sketchy if it's trashy outside. You got mice or rodents or smells or whatever. They trying to get their money back. So I got so pissed off with that. I was like, I got to do something about this. So it turned into like something that was a problem of mine. I was like, let me see how I can bring this out to make other people happy. It became this whole big other thing. But you're in the Airbnb space. I think, if I'm not incorrect, like you're kind of a guru, right? Like you got a lot of things going on in that space. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, you know, what you would like people to know about you, give them a little background on what you do and, you know, how you do it.
100%, man. And, you know, crazy that you say that and how you transition from, you know, doing Airbnb to now providing a trash service to solve that problem. And that's kind of how I got into Airbnb. So originally I'm from South Florida, born and raised in Miami, Florida. It didn't come from money. Family group and warfare, we struggled. And I wanted to be able to find a way out, right? So you thought college and school was going to be the answer. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I was living paycheck to paycheck. So I got into business right away. My very first business was a car dealership, right? So I did that for a couple of years, but it was too stressful. I'm like, bro, this is a lot of work. So I said, I need to get into something with less work. I can still make a lot of money. So I got into the financial service industry where we help people build their credit, help them get into homes. We've been doing that for about 6 years. And then I started thinking, what can I put my money into? How can I tap into real estate without having spending a lot of money and I can make my return right away? And I thought about getting another duplex. Because we owned a duplex at the time. And I said, it's going to take me so much to get my money back. And I said, you know what? How about I get into Airbnb? So I did a lot of research with Airbnb. And I was like, well, I thought I had to purchase a property. I thought I had to buy a property to get into Airbnb. Then I find out the rental arbitrage method. That's when the game changed. So once we got into it, you know, the lockdown happened. So when people was able to travel, it was a big boom, right? So so we kind of fumbled into it, right? I was looking for a way to get some passive income. I said, you know what? Let me try this. Let me research it, learned it. And we just got into it, and from there, started building it for the past couple of years. So it's about to be the third year we've been building this business.
Third year, got it. So you started when COVID jumped off, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of, all right, that's crazy because that's when everybody got hit. And arbitrage was, all right, so here's my, just gonna,
Yeah.
We're gonna go to this sidetrack. I did all three. I've owned, I've arbitraged, and I co-hosted. And this is the way I look at it, like with if you were looking at a hierarchy of things. When you own, you got all the responsibility, but you got all the money. You got the most control, but you also have the most responsibility. When you arbitrage, obviously there's less risk, but you have less control because if your landlord is a piece of shit Like, okay, fix the AC, fix all these things. They don't fix things fast. So like
Correct,
you got to
correct.
come up with that money.
That solution,
Your property management got to be tighter than theirs. And then hopefully they reimburse you or however you work that out, right?
Yeah.
So that's weird. But I mean, little less risk, but a little bit more on the other side of things problematic.
Correct.
Co-host, obviously the least amount of risk, but then that's a slave job. I mean, you basically like, go change some batteries, go do this. And it's
managing
like, come on, man.
Yeah. You get a little bit of money. So sometimes it's not even worth it. It's like, bro, like.
So the wrong type of co-host on the other side of that is a bad match. It's like a bad marriage, right?
Yeah.
So I really, the arbitrage, I was owning an arbitrage kind of where I could have co-host and it made sense because I already had the systems like, the softwares and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was just, mitigating my, offset. It was $10 more a month for this person. So no big deal.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't love just being a co-host. To me, that was kind of like I said, that's a glorified job, right? So,
Yeah.
So you went heavy on arbitrage at a time where landlords was just getting hurt because people were jumping out of arbitrage because they couldn't keep up their nut.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I don't know if we even have enough time to dig into that, but the fact that you pulled it off at that time is kind of a magic trick, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I think that's I'm glad you bring that point up. I think it's reality because you got to understand. See, right now, if you look in the economic state right now that we're in, you have 80% of people in this country that's living paycheck to paycheck, right? A lot of them are losing their jobs, right? A lot of them are struggling. You know why? Because they're doing 80% what the majority is doing. See, people like you and me that's entrepreneurs, we're doing what the minority are doing, and guess what? We're getting the bigger results. So it's always an opportunity when people are going the opposite end, just like stocks, right? They say, look, when people are afraid, they're letting go of their stocks, best time to buy. When people are greedy, you want to get out the stock, right? So when I realized it was a great opportunity, when I was doing rental arbitrage, there was a lot of landlords and property management companies giving great deals, 1 a month free, specials, right? Because no one's really renting, right? Mm-hmm. But guess what? With us being an entrepreneur, we're not depending on employment, right? We're able to sustain our own income. So it wasn't an issue for me to acquire these properties and units. And guess what? It's a solution for me. Even to this day, right now, it's not a lot of people renting because of the economy. But guess what? For people like you and me, it's the best time to get into rental arbitrage because there's still more deals out there. And people is always going to want to travel, regardless kind of the economy will do. Like the travel industry is $1 trillion industry. People always need a place to stay when they travel. And this is where we come in now. So I think it's, it was a good thing when people was getting out of it. And it was a good opportunity for us to tap into the game and make some money.
So I'm going to assume you have your own direct booking site. And how many doors you managing right now?
25.
Okay. And they're all kind of local to Florida, or are you all over?
All Florida. Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa.
Yeah, because I was going to say most of the places are less restrictive because vacation rentals are already kind of a way of life here. Even with our saturation, if you've built up a good personal brand and kind of just built up your customer base over time, you really don't got to depend on the Airbnb tit, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that takes a minute to build up to. Yeah. But that's definitely the way to go.
So definitely having a direct booking website. So we got that. And, our niche now is dealing with like travel workers, people that's here for like work and business. So they're there for longer term stays, like 30-day stays.
Workforce rentals, basically.
Yeah. So pretty much that's where we kind of focus at. Midterm. I would say short. It's not like some is like long term. We got one guest is there for like a year.
But generally over like 30 days to 3 months kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was kind of my favorite sweet spot when I was doing it. Crash pads. That was like my thing.
Yeah, because it's like all the turnovers every 3 days, to me, it's not worth it. It's just, sending you clean unit, someone's there for 3 days. Like, I'd rather have someone there long term, see the money better, and less turnovers and headaches.
Yeah. It used to be Airbnb was like, you could make 3 times the money, but like maybe 1.5, 2 times the work. Now it's like 50. It's like the same. Like more work for more money, but it's like it evens out. So unless you got a really sweet place, good operation, or just crazy low overhead, you better off with the midterm.
Yeah.
Cleaning fees alone.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. So we're just getting to know each other. I mean, we kind of wrapped a little bit, but we were introduced to my man right there. And, so this is great building up. And I like to ask everybody as I'm getting to know, like 3 kind of questions. And this always gives me a kind of not just me, but anybody listening in, who gives me a pretty good idea of like what kind of person you are, what you really care about, and where you're headed in life. So is that cool? I ask you these 3 core questions?
100%. I'm going to charge you for it, but it's cool.
All right, well, there's a quarter right there. Let's set the tab up. Let's go. All right, my man. So what are you most proud of?
What I'm most proud of, this accomplishment that, I was able to get done. Growing up for me, I didn't come from money. We struggled, grew up in welfare. I didn't grow up in a household, 2-parent household. Unfortunately, my mom did pass away. Parents was never married. So it was one of my goals as a child that I wanted to be married, have a family, and be good financially, right? And we was able to do that. But that also came with patience. So, me and my wife are married. Been married for a long period, married since 2016. Was able to build one of our dream houses from the ground up, $500,000 house. And we built a multiple 7-figure business, but the other biggest accomplishment is that now we're building generational wealth and leaving a legacy for our kids. We got 2 kids. So for me, that's the biggest accomplishment outside of materialistic things and things like that, but really setting that foundation that our kids could look up to, that we're both married, that we have a home, that we're building something for them and for the long term. So for me, that's one of my biggest accomplishments getting done.
All right. So what are you most excited about right now?
Man, outside of being on this podcast,
I'll take that.
Outside of being on this podcast, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm just excited about building business. That's one thing that's getting me up and going. Like, I love to work. But this is the direction that we're going. Like, my goal this year, is to aim for $5 million in revenue this year.
Just from the arbitrage?
Just from the arbitrage and everything that we're going on. So we have arbitrage, we have a coaching program. My wife's a real estate agent. So, we're on pace to definitely hit that mark. So that's one of my goals that I have, that, I wanted to hit $5 million. I wrote that on my vision board. I want to say about like a year ago. But this year, we're definitely on pace to do that. So that's one of my goals I'm excited about. And, for me, I really want to make an impact, and I want to do different things, like give back to community, have like a scholarship program. So for me, that's what I'm excited about, like the direction that we're going, and we just make an impact. So we help other people that's looking to get started in business. They set their foundation, getting their credit, getting their business credit, getting their business set up. So that's what we help people with. And then also, obviously, our short-term rental business.
The credit business, is this personal credit or business credit?
We primarily focus on personal credit for the community, but also for our mentees in our coaching program, we help them build their business credit.
Got it. And maybe with the idea of teaching them how to get that, so that when they get into arbitrage, they can finance the furniture and everything else.
Yeah, they can leverage OPM to get their furniture, get the unit, all of that.
Sidetrack, with your experience that you said, the car business.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why Turo didn't become a big part of what you were doing, because of that understanding, and it is like Airbnb, but for cars.
Yeah. So that's a great point, man. You bring back like some nightmares.
Well, I'm saying that's why I brought it out, because I was it's curious that you stayed away from that.
It was just so many headaches in the car game, and that's what I look at. I got to a point when I got mature in business, like I wanted less headaches, still make good money. I didn't want to feel like I'm self-employed. And I feel like with the rental car game, like it's so many management and so many risk in it, because someone could wreck your car, get in an accident. When it comes to rental arbitrage, like they may damage a little bit of property or put a hole in the wall, but you can get it replaced right away. But it being
it's hard to steal a whole house.
Yeah, so, I heard horror stories, people taking their car, they can't find it.
Not real talk. That happened to somebody in here with the Tesla, and they had the tracker on it, but the boy went from here and they found the car, I think up in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yeah.
So and it was a Tesla. They got it back, but it's like, that's a hurt piece for a minute. Like, oh my God, my car.
Yeah, I had something like that happen to me as well too. Matter of fact, multiple times people ran off my car, when we was doing financing, and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, wrecked the car, didn't have insurance. It was like just a nightmare in a car game.
People are shitty.
Yeah, so when I thought about I never thought about doing Turo. I said, heck no, I'm not doing Turo. Only way I will ever get inside the rental car space if I'm ever doing exotics, where I may have to rent it out maybe 4 times out the month, just because the profit margin may be higher. But just like regular economical cars, I wouldn't do it because there's so much work to do. Yeah. And it's like
wrong customer too.
Yeah. Then with the wrong customer, says like, I'd rather, if I ever get into it, it will be exotic cars. But I'm not really attracted to the car game. There's so many nightmares and headaches being in the car business for 6 years. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather do something with like short-term rental, less headaches, and still make good profit.
I think it's good if you're in the business you're in, right? And then you're like, all right, I want exotics for me. I'm gonna put them on Turo and then make them available to the Airbnb people. And if I rent one a month, I'm cool. But it's just financing my own little thing. That's when it's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, you just match them up if it works, and if it don't work, no biggie.
That's it.
I'm writing it all the way off anyway because it didn't make anything. That's the only way I see it working anymore, but not everybody can do that. You gotta have the other thing.
100%.
They're going there. So, all right. So, what's your vision for the future? You mentioned legacy. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Sometimes it just means me and my family, and But bigger, it could be bigger than that. It could be like something that wants to change. You want to change the world some way. What's your vision?
Yeah, 100%. So, my vision for leaving a legacy is not only for my family, but also just impacting other people. So I want to start like a scholarship foundation, a scholarship program where I could give back to people that are trying to get into college and they can't afford it, family can't afford to pay for college. So that's one program that I want to start. But for my family, because a lot of times people want to make money now for themselves, right? Obviously want to make money to survive, but I want to have money for generations to come. And, if you look at all of the top wealthy people in this country, they are tapped into real estate. So one of my ultimate goals is to get into apartments building as well, to owning apartments. It's all about ownership. So I want to do both. My goal is always to, leverage short-term rental, generate cash flow, but also get into apartments, because that's one of the biggest ways that you could build wealth is through apartments, right? Everyone's into it. Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, like all of these big time people that we see, all of them are tapped in real estate on the back end. And that's something that you could pass down to generations because you have ownership. And then also at the same time, you're able to save on taxes. So what I want to do is for my kids, if they decide, hey, look, they don't want to go to college, they don't have to. They want to tap into business. They could get into business because guess what? We have the foundation. We have the funds to do so. And they could be able to sustain the business or whatever they want to do with the funds that we pass down to them. But the other book I want to recommend, and it's beginning to really open up my eyes, is the book called "What Would the Rockefellers Do" by Gary Gunderson.
Oh yeah, you know what? He's a comedian now
Yeah.
I did read that.
Yeah.
That's a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Rockefeller book definitely opening your eyes about. Everybody's like, oh, Napoleon, Think and Grow Rich, and I get that. But something about that book is just a little bit more useful.
100%.
I guess that's the word.
Definitely,
useful,
yeah.
Everything speaks in vagaries, and we could go on and on. Like one of the books people kind of bring up to me a lot of times. What do you call it? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, yeah.
In fact, I had one of my mentees actually call me rich. I had a couple guys calling me Rich Dad, Rich Dad. And it's not because I'm rich. It's more like that thinking, right? But
yeah.
Well, I am rich in different things, but everybody's numbers is different and
correct,
what they're rich
correct.
in is. But I could argue all day, and I was just like, that's a great overall get you in the mindset of things. Mm-hmm. But if you try to follow that original book exactly like that, you ain't gonna learn nothing. Like there's nothing in there you can just point to and be like, I'm gonna do this, and this. It's not that good. So there's parts about it. But also too, remind me after this, I want an apartment building. I know about one for sale right now, and I'll take you to the guy. You can start talking to him. If that's really what you want to do, I'm gonna have you talk to him. But
okay,
do you have a name for this big vision that you said, the scholarship? Like that's what I didn't want to get off of too much. You said you want to create a scholarship. What would you call that scholarship?
I would call it after my last name. The Fan Scholarship or Fan Foundation. Add something to it, but have my name in it.
Fan.
Yeah.
Fan. I'm not part of the Fan. Get stuck, bro. Oh shit.
Because one thing that stuck out to me is like, what I always ask people is like, what do you want to be known for? After you leave this earth, what do you want to be known for? The impact that you make, what footprints that you want to leave. So, for me, I want to leave a footprint. It's like, because I know how it was for me up and growing up. I had scholarships that was able to help me pay for college. Right, and it was a gentleman who built a foundation, Elon Broad. He named his scholarship after his last name, Broad Prize. He gave me like $20,000 in the scholarship, all because I had a great GPA. My grades was improving every year. He saw the scholarship foundation, but he passed away, I want to say about 3 years ago. But he's known for making a huge impact in the country by getting so many students and people like me into college to make something of themselves. I'm not saying that you always got to go to college to be successful, but he's known for the impact that he made. So I'll name something after my last name. So,
do you have a number in your head of like? I always find that if you give a number to something, and you mentioned your goal of $5 million, like I want to help. I have one for me, and maybe I'll share later. But I want to help X amount of kids before I die. I want to make sure that this many kids get scholarships. Do you have like that number in your head yet?
Not yet, but if it can be, man, I would say 10,000.
Okay, I
would say 10,000. 10,000 kids get scholarships.
You heard it here first. So subscribe to Eugene Fan and say, Leo, I'm ready for my scholarship, Holmes, and just I'll be number one. Yeah. Look at that. Man, now they're gonna be in your pocket, but that's okay, right? You got that. You got that. All right, so we're gonna get into the meat of this here, right? So entrepreneurs kicking ideas together. I'm going to go first, and how this is going to work is I'm going to give you an idea about something. It could be part of my business, and actually the one I have for you, because you understand the Airbnb business, is an extension piece to something that I thought would work in that space.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my idea about that with you. But it could be anything. It could be any idea. It doesn't even have to be in an Airbnb space. It doesn't have to be in real estate. It could be some wild, crazy idea you thought, like this app or whatever.
Yeah.
Point is, I'm going to tell it to you. You can write down some notes. You can think about it, whatever you got to do. And then when I'm done, you're going to tell me you got these paddles in front of you.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't see it, there's these really dope paddles. That's why you got to kind of subscribe to the YouTube so you can see this fantastic artwork that I put together, courtesy of Canva. And so you'll just judge and you'll be like, is it cash or trash? And obviously you can see which one is which. But then, whatever you say, it's like, okay, but why? Tell me, break it down, why you came up with that. So far, we had there was only one trash on my part. And for me, well, actually, it was 2 trash total so far, but it's wide open. It could be cash or it could be trash. The point is, we're going to share some ideas. Maybe someone out there will take one of these and run with it because we want to see it in the world. Maybe they hit you and me up and they're like, I want to do that thing with you, yada, yada. Who knows? But that's the point. Let's see what it is. Is it trash or is it cash? So I'm going to hit you with mine and tell me what you think, okay? All right, so my business is Trashmitter. It's Uber for trash. Basically, it's take a couple pictures for short-term rental hosts or property managers or cleaning companies. Anybody who got to get rid of 2 to 10 bags of trash, let's say. Not too much where they need a junk company because they charge like $120 minimum. 2 guys come in a truck. You might see them a day later, whatever it is. But hey, I guess they're coming at 4 o'clock. I check out. I need these bad boys gone. Take a couple shots. You can walk away. They're taken. You get to see them go away. So that's the core business. It's going to be more than that. But I was thinking, because I'm in the business of trash and cleaning, one of the things that I came up with, not by myself, and there was another friend involved with it, but I'm gonna break it down for you. I call it T3, right? So as a property manager of short-term rentals, the consumables, right? We always got these supply that we got to re-up on. Sometimes the cleaners will do it for us, or we'll send it by Amazon to them, or they'll bring it with you. Whatever reason, there's this ongoing consumption of certain products. So I'm in the trash business, so one of the 3 top consumables is always going to be trash bags. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's T3. I call it T3: toilet paper, trash bags, and paper towels. Right? Those are kind of people. Yeah. Real easy, right? So I wanted to start a subscription services for people who were in that business. That was just like an Amazon subscription service that would kind of re-up as needed, and it would just be different box sizes. But the beauty of it is when you do this through my app, you would generate these trash tokens. So number 1, you would get some points from them, and number 2, I would create it almost like an invoice where, what do you call it? Those net 30-day, net 90-day kind of thing, where it would be reporting to a business account. So your business, your LLC, if it needed to generate business credit, instead of you going someplace stupid like Staples and getting something you don't need, or Uline or one of these other ones where they do the bill, you're using your Staples. And even if you had a home office, you could use this because you could write it off like, hey, I need these consumables for my home office.
For your business,
So the idea was to enable hosts, especially just starting out or whatever, trying to build up that business credit to actually do a reporting line off these Staples that they already use, and that would also like be tied into what I'm doing. So that was the idea, where it would literally be a cheap mechanism of people building up business credit through this system. Obviously, I make money. They win. I win. Everybody wins. So that was my idea. So what do you think of that?
Oh, I think it's a good idea.
Cash. If you can't see, it's cash.
Yeah.
All right. What do you like about it the most, I guess, or what really?
I feel like you already have a customer base already. People already do Airbnb. And, you're going to need those items, paper towel, trash bags. Mm-hmm. And the other key kicker about it, which is good, a lot of new hosts and new business owners struggle with, is business credit, which is going to be key, because any business you're going to start, you need capital, you need money. And not a lot of banks going to give you money if you don't have the business credit. So I think, it's a good business idea.
Yeah, it's funny because like they're like always the first level of that is like, oh, get you a Staples card, get you a gas card. It's like, man, I don't really need that because that's not like the consumable. But this is like, this goes with it. And again, even if you were like not an Airbnb and you were just like, well, I need to build my business credit. It's like, well, you got a home office? Yeah. All right, use it for your home office, write it off that. It's a write-off and it builds up your business credit. So that's why I think. And if there was even a way to help it speed up, like maybe even get into, what's that the business credit kind of report. I forgot the name of them. Dun & Bradstreet, right? Yeah. If it reports to them, even better, right? So that would be, to me, that would be a real useful thing. So cool. Glad you liked it. I might integrate that at some point after all this other stuff is done.
Yeah,
but
add me in as a partner.
I'm gonna have to talk to the guy who came up with the idea with me and see what we can do, because he probably would be like, yeah. In fact, he's also a tech investor in this space, so that actually might be a good connect. He actually Tulsa. He just came out of tech. The heck is the name of the tech starter or whatever like that. He won some money from Damon John. Oh, wow. All kind of good stuff. So yeah, I just had a baby the other day. So
wow,
your turn.
Wow.
Hit me with yours.
So one business idea I think that would be good is basically setting up a system where we could assist hosts with a direct booking website, and we could have the site do marketing through Facebook and through Instagram, right? Because that's one thing with Airbnb. Obviously, you're just leveraging their platform or Vrbo, but you also want to build up your booking clientele, because you could eliminate their fees, right, that they're charging. So let's say we create a company where we're setting up a direct booking website for the client. We're helping them with the market on the back end so they can build up their own clientele. And now they could cut out the middleman, which is Airbnb and Vrbo and Booking.com and other sites as well too. So that way now they could generate more revenue for the business. Because you kind of think of a hotel, they're not on Airbnb. They have their own website, right? But they're already known. So that would assist new hosts to begin to build up their brand, right? And that way they could get more people going to them opposed to going to Airbnb. So, it could be a service fee that we charge. It could be a monthly recurring fee, which I think is good. Subscription now is good. So it could be like a small monthly recurring fee that we're charging them, hosting a website, and then doing the marketing on the back end. So that way they could get more leads for clientele looking to stay at the spot. My
questions are, what makes this different from any other OTA that will do a lot of that stuff for you based off of because they got to all market, like a lot of these fees. So that's the theory behind Airbnb customers. If you're smart, you only pay for that customer once. So you pay your 18%. Now they're trying to sell it as 15% fee overall to acquire that customer one time. And if you're smart, you get their number and your email and you keep remarketing them and make them your customer. But those are expensive, just like Facebook ads are expensive or building a personal brand is expensive. How do you make that economically feasible in a way that, because my question is when you do this marketing, obviously they lump everybody's marketing together under the Airbnb, VBR, whatever, hotels.com brand. Like they go out there, they pay for commercials, yada, yada, and then they take their fees. So how do you economically subsidize getting this customer for this particular person with this website, and whose customer is it? Because if they pay to a pool of customers, then it's everybody sharing the same customer. So there's hard to be loyalty, right? And that's kind of like what already exists. But if it's like I'm paying you per customer, and the only way and the way this could work is if you get leads. And then you just sell the lead to the closest person that fits this. But then there's that whole kind of like an Angie's List kind of problem where they sell you these leads or Zillow or whatever, but they're kind of trash. It might not be your customer type, and people just end up complaining a lot. I'm just trying to figure out where in this do you see the how do you make the marketing part and the overhead part to get the customer cheap enough to say $20 per customer to acquire? That's just for a number. And if you can't do that and you try to make it cheaper across the board, how do you, whose customer is it? Is it my customer or is it your customer? Or is it all of our customers and we just all marketing, depending on where they're at?
That's a great point. I would do something where I would have let's say each company, they're getting their own marketing. And if a client want to book, let's say a client go to their site and want to book directly. So it's not like, hey, here's a set of leads. You got to call and filter through and qualify the leads. It will be basically, we'll help, let's say it's one company, we set up your company, you got your direct booking website, we'll do the marketing on the back end and push traffic there. And we'll do the same thing for each business that we'll do, right? Because what a lot of people struggle with, obviously, leveraging Airbnb, some people may not be able to build the clientele on the back end, right? Obviously, if you're getting their contact, you're maybe email blasting them and doing drip campaigns to see if hey, do you want to book? But, if you look at what Airbnb Vrbo are doing, they're doing a marketing, right? And they're getting a fee. So essentially, it would be something similar to that. But what we'll do is we'll cut the cost. So let's say that client, they're paying a subscription fee every month. They get a client. They keep 100% of the booking. We're not taking anything out of that. So it's really figuring out, okay, well, how much would it cost on the back end to do the marketing, right, to attract that client, and then how we incorporate the monthly subscription fees. So let's say someone's paying $200 a month, $300 a month that they're paying, how we'll be able to incorporate a fee going towards marketing and then also profit margins for us.
That's the puzzle. So not because it's not a good idea, but it's hard for me. I'm gonna call it trash, and the reason is this problem is what they're all working on at the same time. Mm-hmm. What I would kind of try to figure out is if there's a way to get somebody's property featured. It could be like in a magazine or something. So like maybe it's a magazine. Okay, so maybe something like this might work. It's like, hey, we're gonna feature houses in this magazine, almost like MTV Cribs or whatever, some kind of niche. Let's say workforce housing. People can go through a book almost like a catalog, or so let's say it's online. And then if you pick from that, and the host simply pays to post their thing in there, and then everything goes through, but maybe they just pay a subscription for that. And why I say that is because you eliminate if you can eliminate all the, well, you have to screen these people and all this, and you just stay out of it. Like, listen, you're paying to advertise like if you were on a billboard. Everything else is on you. You got to have your own insurance, your own lease. We don't do nothing but put you up here. Something like that version of it might work because it just takes all this heat off of you and this overhead, and now you need all these insurances. It's like, no, man, we're just a magazine. We're a billboard for your thing. Your marketing cost is low, but like this magazine, this e-magazine or this magazine is targeted, and all you got to do is just get in front of, like, if it's workforce, you send it to the corporations or the relocation places, and it's like, oh wow, this is cool. Like I get to look at this, every quarter and look at these things and see who's what. That could possibly work, and I could see even teaming up with like a magazine that might do because they hit me up for that kind of stuff. Like they like hey, it's marketing. If you're a real estate agent, it's like, here, have this magazine full of design stuff, and we put it out a corner. Your cards all up in it. But like that model, that might actually pop off, something like that. Yeah. So thank you. I mean, I just wanted to, because I know that problem right there is the circle that they're running in, like a dog track. It's just they keep going in these circles. It's like responsibility, marketing, keeping it cheap. And if you already see those big guys running around that circles, like I don't know, you just want to get in that zone. You know what I mean? But thank you. That was cool. That was cool. So you did mention a book. I wanted to see if there was any other resources that helped you as an entrepreneur. It could be a podcast, a book, an audio book, like anything out there that like really helped you get to the next level for you. Yeah. So I would say the book would be 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. You know what I'm saying? When I got my first business in the car business, and I thought I was doing something, in regards to like the sales was doing and things like that. And I went to a networking event, and one young lady told me about this book. She's like, "Hey, you heard of Grant Cardone?" I'm like, "Nah." She's like, "Well, it was like a real estate networking event." She's like, "Hey, I'm seeing this audio," and I listened to it, and that changed everything for me. Like I was able to like learn different things to really increase my activities that I was doing, 10xing everything, and literally my revenue went through the roof. So I would say 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. What was the first thing you decided to 10x? Do you remember? I went to the very first thing I needed to 10x was this activity. So what I started doing is I make a list of activities I'm doing every day. Was I increasing my marketing, right? I say I need to talk to more people. I need to get my business out there, getting on the website, getting into magazines, like you talked about, Craigslist, offer up 5 miles, like getting more exposure, 10x my exposure, right? We just had a website and that was it. He's the king of that. Yeah, so increasing my exposure, increasing my activities I'm doing every day, increasing my team activities they were doing every day. And later on that year, like our revenue went through the roof. But just by listening to the audiobook, that personal development, and then increasing our activities. There's people out there that don't like him. I met him. He is what he is. He's actually, his brother lives like in Clearwater, his twin brother. But if you look at his kids, they're living proof of his concept. Like he 10x those kids. They're like amazing. They like speaking on GrowthCon stages and stuff like that. So like people out there, gurus, whatever, you got to look at not just what they coming out their mouth, but look at the people around them and what they're doing. And if you want to see what the real thing is, you got to look at like their circle. What's their circle doing? Yeah. And that he knows, love him or hate him, he's for real with that. Yeah. For me, the book I like the best, and I actually paid my son to read it one time, was Sell or Be Sold. Oh yeah, that's a good book. Yeah, because that concept of like you're either selling somebody or they sold you. Sold you, on their excuse. It's just simple. They just sold you, like You didn't sell them, they sold you. They sold you and you were wrong. And now you gotta get better. But I like that simplicity of that concept. So I think that's my favorite book by him.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just wanted to point out, you asked me a little while ago about the room and what goes on here. So this right here, this space, I told you, this podcast is for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. This whole space is for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. It's called the Collab, the Real Freedom Collab. And it's just a bunch, people in the real estate, crypto space, all that. We collaborate here. So you got offices, we got this podcast studio, we got everything here. And I just want to let people out there know, this is something that you can actually tap into as well if you're local to the Tampa area. So if you're interested in seeing what this is about, maybe getting a membership like I have here and be able to take advantage of all the resources here and, rub shoulders with guys like you and me. You can go to the trashercashpodcast.com, or if that's not up yet, because it might be too early still, realfreedomclub.com as well. They'll give you a little bit of background on what we do here. There's real estate education. We got Airbnb meetups twice a month, so definitely going to tell you about those. We do real estate, crypto stuff on. We did a big Bitcoin thing the other day. So a lot of activity goes on in this place that if you're a real entrepreneur, even if you don't know where to connect, because maybe, I don't know, whatever you're doing is not congruent with WeWork or some other place, this is a good spot to connect to people. Lot of diversity here if you care about that. Some people do, some people don't. Lot of just heads, ideas, things going around. And then, you could always kind of pop in on one of these and maybe even, be the next podcast star on the Trash or Cash podcast. I don't know. So if you're interested in that, definitely those links. And also you can hit me up, Jason Centeno, AKA the Dad Next Door, or my business at Trashmitter on FBIG. And even your mama knows me. I'm just kidding. Eugene, want to tell them how to find you?
Oh, yeah. Y'all can find me on Facebook, EugeneFanFan.com, and then follow me on IG at Mr. Eugene06, or follow me on TikTok at Mr. Eugene06 to stay connected and stay wrapped in.
Yeah, and then your main things are credit and Airbnb, education. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we want you to, if you want to know more about that. And like I said, you could tap into the meetups. So he would teach you, but actually local communities are important too. That's what we're building. So as a host, they would come here and they get to see the cleaners and hear about the other people, handyman, all that. We actually have a community online, a Facebook group. And we got this thing that we're actually launching the 12th called Host Helper. So Yelp, but just for hosts. And you would go on and you'd be like, you know how cleaners, I'm the best cleaner. Nobody knows you. How do I know? You could be the worst cleaner.
Yeah.
So it would be reviews by hosts. And then let's just say, Yelp, how can you really, it could be anybody that put the review, right? But you could go right into the group and be like, oh, such and such said this. Let me hit up such and such and see if that's the truth. Or let me ask about this person in this group. So one is a neutral territory and one you can actually do some research on. So I figured it was a good place to kind of collect and say, hey, here's the site where you can find the people. Here's the site where you can tell if they're really for real. And here's the meeting place and physical space that you can be get to know these people and see if you really do want to work with them. So you can't complain if somebody gives you all those things. If something goes wrong, look, it was just not meant to be. But we give you everything. You can't complain about that. We didn't try to help you out. So that being said, this is it. This is what Trash and Cash Talk is about, right? So
is it?
Trash ideas, cash ideas, and also trying to help you guys out as entrepreneurs. So if you actually want to ever come and pitch us an idea, at some point we might put you up on the screen for 5 minutes. You might come here. Maybe one day me and him will review your idea. I don't know. But if that sounds like something that's attractive to you, then subscribe to the pod on Spotify or YouTube, or connect with us at trashercashpodcast.com. And if you're in Tampa, and you're welcome anytime to come connect with us here at one of the events and come get trashy with us anytime you like. So that's a wrap. You got.
Let's get it.
You want? What, let's say you got a catchphrase you want to hit them with on your way out. I got a little one. I'm still working on it, but I always like to hear from the guests.
You say catchphrase?
Yeah, how would you take people out of your, if you had a podcast, maybe you do. How would you take them out? How do you want to end it?
Oh nah, man. What I let everybody know, man. I'm gonna see you guys at the top. The bottom's too crowded. Let's get it and let's go.
Nice. For me, peace, trash, and cash be with you. We out.
Let's get it.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trashmitter. That's TrashMitter. And keep up with all episodes at trashercashpodcast.com.